Hello and welcome to the next upload from Legoland California. We are in the Imagination Zone, stood right outside Project X, which is the big Lego Technic roller coaster within this section of the park. Now, the day of me filming this was not operational, but I am not too sure if it was down for standard maintenance or if they're going to be doing some other different bits and pieces to it. Because as we pan around and have a look at the front, there is a thing on the front of the door there where you've got the blue door with the shush symbol, and it has some secret bits and pieces underway. So it'd be very, very interesting to know, if you have been at the start of the 2025 season, what is occurring with that. Now, that model I do believe is also at Legoland Windsor as well, but I think they might have a slightly different bunny on the inside of that. Now, going back to the ride itself, it did look like it had a different track layout to the one that they got at Legoland Billund, and a slightly different layout again to the one that is at Legoland Florida. So we don't have this ride at Legoland Windsor, and I don't think they have it at Dubai either. But you can see that this part of the track is pretty much the same as they always are. It just snakes round and round and round, but it did look like it had a couple of different curves and different bits and pieces like that. So it does look like it's a rather large ride. Obviously, all the track is still connected, so I think it was more than likely just down for normal maintenance, and it will be up and running now in the 2025 season. But again, let me know if you know, and if you are a local, it'd be very, very handy to know, to let everybody else know. But this was coming right to the very end of the day, so the food eateries and things like that would have closed down now, because lunch would have already happened. Some of the eateries actually said that they weren't going to be open on that day. Now, this is a very, very popular pizzeria, as is that chap just here holding the huge pizza, and it's always nice to go in there for an all-you-can-eat buffet, and it was in a perfect location just beside that roller coaster. So like I said, we're in the Lego Technic section at the moment. From here, I think we go to the Bionicle, then we go into lots of different bits and pieces. But you can see it says it'll be closed for the day, so it wasn't just closed for that afternoon. And you can see that you have got all of these cool bits and pieces just here, and you have got some outside eateries, so we can have a quick look at this model, and it did look really impressive. So some of these models I have never seen before, because you do have almost exclusive models to each park, so they are all slightly different. And it's the same thing inside the hotels as well. So the hotels are completely different depending on, obviously, what hotel that you stay at, because you've got to compare the Legoland hotels and the castle hotels together, because obviously each one of those are completely different anyway. Now, as we start coming back down on ourselves, we are going to end up at the Ferrari World section. That has already been filmed in a separate upload, because that video by itself was very, very large. Now, one of the rides that was open is this thing just here. Now, I have seen this ride once, I think, at Legoland Dubai, but it had different theming, and I'm trying to remember what theming it had. I want to say it was at the castle section, so it was more of a wizard theme. So obviously it's exactly the same ride as this, but they had just replaced all the Technic pieces with different wizard bits and pieces as well. So they had this and the ride that we've got at Legoland Windsor over in the Kingdom section, whereas this seemed to have a lot of random different bits and pieces within this section of the park, but it was really nice to see. Now, you can see it's not running. I've walked past this a fair few times. There's one poor member of staff looking bored as anything, because obviously it just doesn't look like it's open, because the actual kiosk is a little bit further in, but there wasn't the rope across, and then a family soon clocked onto it, so then a big group of people started to go in right at the end of the day, because I think because the main roller coaster is not open, it wasn't attracting that many people down to the Bionicle Blaster. Now, I think next up on the list is the new Ninjago section that they've added in, which is a big play area, which I do believe has replaced one of the original classic sections of the park. Now, I did put this video together on the plane a good while ago, so I'm 9 weeks behind, I think. So this is the brand new Lego Ninjago training camp. Now, there is a massive play area behind me where all the little ones are running around. Obviously, I'm not going to be filming that, so we have just walked straight through, and then we are now having a look at the much larger models. Now, these things are very, very detailed. They did look very, very good, and I did say in the Ninjago video, I wonder if they're going to update the Ninjago models, and they have done in the new section. So if, as and when they open up a new park, I wonder if this is going to be the models that they add in going forward, or if they are going to replace the OG classic outfits, shall I say, with regards to them being in Billund and Windsor and places like that, with this new style of model, because these do look very, very effective indeed. And it's obviously nice to see brand new models added in. But if you are coming around this area of the park and you want to go down all the slides, it is enormous, enormous play area. It is probably bigger than the pirate one that they have got at Legoland Windsor, and I do believe this has only just recently been added in. Like I said, I spoke to a member of staff at the very end of the day, and lots of different bits and pieces have actually been replaced recently, and they are in the process, as I am doing this voiceover, of adding in a brand new area into the park, and I think they might be expanding it further afield. But you can see you've got the 4D cinema. That again was not open at the time of me being here, but they did have a sign out the side saying that they are doing technical rehearsals for different bits and pieces. So it'd be very interesting to see exactly what is going to be going on the inside of there, because they do have one of these everywhere, but you can see it's out for maintenance and it's preparing for something fun. So I do believe, I love that popcorn little figure, and obviously you can get that in minifigure form as well, that they might be adding on maybe some new models to the area. So that'd be very, very interesting to see. So they might be adding some new models, and also they might be adding in some new films and things like that. So it should be good. Now, talking of new models, so we have a area to have a look in now. This is all the brand new Lego Dream stuff, and yes, the colors in this are ridiculously bright and vibrant. It was very, very nice to see. It's very impressive actually, this area, because what they've done is you have multiple buildings you can now build in. So rather than just spreading them out throughout the park and having the odd one, they have all of them together. So this whole area, everything that we're looking now on the left and right hand side, is all different bits and pieces. So the Ferrari World is on the right hand side. That is a very, very big area. So we've already done that in a completely separate video. Now this one is large enough. There's plenty of areas that you can sit down, you can build lots and lots, and obviously there's a pizzeria directly over the way, so you can sit down outside, grab yourself a pizza. Now this was nice to see all the models. This was the first time I had seen all of these models built up in person, but you can see all the tables of where all the little ones are supposed to sit down, and then you can build all of those different bits and pieces. Now, I did walk past this area when I first came into the park, and it was heaving. But don't forget, this is right at the end of the day, just as the park is starting to close, so everything is getting neat and tidy. But it did take me the full day to do a loop. So for me going all the way in where the big tree was at the start, after I'd filmed the shop, did a big loop and then saw this last, I just managed to get this bit done. The Ninjago section is next door, and then I literally walked straight out the park as everything was starting to close. So literally to the minute I was there. So I made as much of the day as I possibly could, but it's really nice to see all those models on display, and you can see for yourself just how many different bins there are to build. Now again, another new model that I haven't seen before is this one. So this is about ice cream and the pizzeria. I did actually grab myself a pizza from here. It was very, very tasty. And then you can see the loads and loads of space all around the outside that you can sit down and just grab yourself a bite to eat. And it comes it comes very, very quickly, to be honest. It doesn't take long whatsoever. It's all self-service, and the park is also cashless. It's a contactless park, or sorry, cashless park for contact payment only. So that's how that works. So some of the parks now, they don't accept cash whatsoever, and Legoland seem to be one of them that aren't doing that. It's not the case at Universal Studios though, but it is the case over here. Now the big T-Rex, I do believe that has gone at Legoland Windsor. That has now been thrown away, and we have got some different areas that we're going to be having a look at on the inside of this once we have had a look at all the amazing bits and pieces on the outside. So we have got a Mindstorm area. That is where you can go in and get a load of different bits and pieces built, and then you've also got a photo opportunity on the bench. Now we've seen that attire plenty of times before, because they have got that at Billund, but the head that they've used is a much larger individual with all the cameras around his chest. So that is your build and race. It is an enormous section. Now these are starting to pop up at all the different Legoland parks around the world, but the amazing thing about all of these is they have a special car, life-size car, built out of Lego bricks at each Legoland, but each car is exclusive to that park. So far I've ticked off 2. I've seen the one at Billund, and I have seen the one here. Now I will be getting to Windsor, because that is my local park, which I actually failed for the first time in a long time to get to last year. I never managed to get there in 2023. So I will be going there in 2024 for sure, and we can have a good look at the areas. Now the only hard thing about this is, depending on the layout, sometimes you can't see what we're looking at now. So in Billund, it is almost impossible to stop and read when there's a lot of people about, because they've actually put seating and benches in front of all of the writing underneath, so you can see across the strip is actually covered, so you can't actually see what you're supposed to be looking at. But that is the main event. That thing is outstanding. It is a beautiful, beautiful car, and it's a perfect photo opportunity. If obviously you want to get your photo taken, you can do, and then you can then just crack on and go over to the other side and get a load of different bits and pieces built. Now again, because I managed to come to this part of the park at the end of the day, because this was the first time me actually walking in here, I assumed it was going to be exactly the same as Billund, and it was completely different. And the inside, I was the only person there, so I managed to go in, film everything, which is always really, really nice to do with nobody there. And then now at least you can see what you're going to be walking into at any of the other parks around the world, because the likelihood of me ever getting into this place again first as a group, so you can see the people that are following me, but I was leading this little group of people, and then just walking in to where all the bits and pieces are for the build and the race. Over in Billund, it was impossible. You could just go in there and sit down and just obviously see all the different bits and pieces. If you want to, you could build your car and get it down the ramp, but there was hundreds of people in there, and also it was completely full at kick-out time as well, because what they'll do is they'll shut this about 45 minutes to an hour before the park closes, just to start getting people out, so they won't allow anybody back in, because obviously they start to close the ride staggered, and then the last thing that is open is the big shop. Now, every time so far I've gone over to Billund, it is such a popular area, and it is also the most popular area at the Lego house as well. So it'd be interesting to see what they are like further afield and the other parks around the world. So depending on what your local park is, let me know what car you have outside the front. Now we are walking back up past the Mindstorm bit, which is where the big T-Rex is, and I do believe we are going to finish, I think, on the space. So that is between the Dreams and the Minecraft. So there we go. Those doors that look like they're closed, and you've got the beating heart. That was a pretty cool thing. You could go in. So decided to go in and around that. I think that was the exit, and this is the entrance. Now we've got the Lego Space, which I do believe now, with all of the brand new space sets, every single set in here will now have to be replaced with the new sets that came out in January of 2024. So somebody over the Christmas period would have had to have thrown all of these away, or take them home, or recycle the pieces obviously, and then put all the brand new bits and pieces in. But again, with the dioramas, they do the dioramas the best here. Their model display team is absolutely fantastic. So no matter where you're at around the park, there's always stuff to have a look at, and there's lots and lots of information. And they have got, I think, we're about to have a look at the Duplo. Yes, so this is all some of the current sets or older sets, I think. So what we've got here, we've got the missions, so that's the Lego City missions, and then we've got the creator, and then you've got the little, oh, it's sort of just 3 in 1. So that's all 3 variations of that. Then you have all of these around the outside. I am in a little bit of a rush because I wanted to get to the Ninjago section before the park closed. So I had about 25 minutes left, and then obviously everybody starts to leave. And it was honestly amazing how long it took to get around the park, because obviously I film everything. I wasn't expecting to get as much filming done, to be honest. I just went around there to have a look, and yes, it's very, very successful. So you can see all these bits and pieces on the inside. That is a very, very nice display, and they also have the large space rocket. But I'm assuming around the outside, or in the middle of that bit, it's either a race that you can do, or it's something that you can do with regards to building, because it did look like it was on a slope. But round the outside of everything is where all the building bins are. So you can see there are a couple of people building in the background, and each one of those bays where it says Lego City Space, you can try and build your own space rocket. So these things here, loads and loads of Lego bricks, and you've got different steps to try and build different things. So that's how you build a rocket. And then I think there's a couple of other ones that you can do as well. So it's pretty cool, again, that they've got this in here. So it's perfect if the weather's bad, or if it's too hot, you can just come in there. I do feel sorry for the member of staff, because you're going to have to take the pieces apart every single time and then put them back in the actual bins. But it'd be interesting to see what it is like with the new city space sets coming out. Now, back up to the pizzeria, having a look at the rest of the models. This must have been at the time I had actually ordered the pizza. I did like the bird eating the pizza on top. So there's a big seagull taking a full pizza slice away from him. And I think, guys and girls, we are done. So if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. There is a full playlist available from Legoland California and all of the other Legoland parks around the world, including Dubai, Billund, and further afield as well. But in that comment section below, let us know what you think of this park and what your local park is. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll see you next one. Ta-da.